Wonderful. Thanks for watching. Like and sub. Come on. Hey everyone, welcome to the next video of From Idea to Launch. I just wanted to give you a heads up that my OBS crashed like 60 times in this video. So you're gonna see a lot of like choppiness, and I'm really sorry. Hopefully you'll get through, you'll learn some stuff, see how bad I am at authentication and security, and make some comments below. So enjoy this video. I tried to make it as succinct as possible, which is hard for me. So enjoy, like and subscribe. We'll follow up later. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of From Idea to Launch. Today, we're going to be working on doing some authentication. It may take more than one episode because there's a lot to cover in here. We're going to be going through things like cookies, JWT tokens, and then how to connect the kind of to maintaining sessions on the front end and the back end. Actually, we're not maintaining sessions on the back end. The JWT token is a session. Anyways, we'll just jump right in. So we'll briefly cover what we did last time. We went through and we allowed people to sign up and log in. So here's the service we created, or the backend route we created that has a database service, some sort of auth service, and a user model. Now all we do in here is we check if it's a post request, connect to the database, see if we can find the user or not, and then either sign them up if they're signing up, or try and log them in. Now what we didn't get to is we didn't do this part, which is that once they're logged in or once they're signed up, we don't do anything. We just send back a 200. So we don't maintain any service or that sort of thing, any session rather, or that sort of thing, which we'll do today. So first things first, we have to figure out how to send back a JSON Web Token. Now JSON Web Tokens allow us to encode and encrypt data inside of this token so that we can read it back and make sure it hasn't been tampered with when we get back on the server. So I like to send as little information as possible for two things. One, it's going to be included in almost every header we send to the server, especially if there are routes that are restricted. So make sure it's small because it's going to take up space on the payload. The other pieces that they can be taken, they're being stored as cookies on the front-end browser, so people could sniff them and that sort of thing, take them away. And we want to make sure that we don't include anything crazy important on there that they can take and get away with. Unfortunately, we'll have to include some amount of information that will allow them to technically spoof being that user, but we're going to include as little as possible. So let's go ahead and get started and start installing some libraries, and we're going to modify this auth service. So before in this auth service, we had a create user and a validate password, both using external services to handle our passwords. So it's going to close those up. We're going to create two more functions in here, one called, and it'll be async, I believe, function called sign. That'll take some stuff, and all this is going to do is it's going to sign our JWT, and we'll just signing is kind of like encrypting. It's not technically encrypting because you can decode it and read the content pretty easily, but we're going to encrypt it. And this is what signing is creating some sort of unique key that they can read back and make sure that key part of it wasn't tampered with. Maybe key isn't the right word. The other one we're going to create is the verify function. So to async here. Whoops, async. Did I spell that right? Yeah. Function verify. And this is going to take in our token. There we go. And all it's going to do in here is just make sure that the token we sent back is not expired, if we're doing expiry times on it, and includes the correct non-tampered with version of the signature that matches what we signed it with. So it came from our server, all that good stuff. Okay, so let's start with the sign function. We're going to need a few libraries that we're going to install in just a second, but until then. So the sign function is going to take one thing for now, which is a payload. And the payload is whatever we're going to include in that JWT that we want accessible later. We want to include some options as well, but for now, we'll just leave it as is, nothing special going on. So in here, we want to just return, we don't actually need async. Return, just because the library I'm using doesn't use promises, we're going to return a new promise just to create it. I don't like using callbacks. Resolve, reject, boom. And we're going to install this library called JWT, JSON Web Token. And it's got a method called sign, and it's going to sign our payload. And we have to pass it a secret of some sort that we can sign it with. So in our case, we're just going to use like process.env.secret. But if we don't have one, we're just going to use this secret. And we can use that for development for now. We don't need to put a secret in there. Good. And then we have in here, whoops, a callback, which has the error and the signed token if it successfully gets it. So this is some basic checking here. If we have an error, we probably want to just reject. Return, reject, error. Otherwise, we can resolve that token. Beautiful. Simple function. So let's import that library JWT. Import JWT, whoops, from JWT. And we'll install it here as well. Let's stop running the server, yarn add JWT. Oh my gosh, I installed the wrong thing. JSON Web Token. That's what we're supposed to install. And we'll install it properly here. JSON Web Token. Good, okay. Now we've sorted that out. So our sign will go inside of our Authenticate API route. Over here we have to do sign a JWT. Perfect. So we'll back it up. Boom. Let's see here. Here's our user. We've declared the user, so I want to make sure we have that. Let user up here. Perfect. So by the time we get here, we have some sort of user object. So this is an async function. Make sure we turn await. And I'm just going to send back the token as a string. There's no need to put it in JSON or anything odd like that. We'll just send back as a string. So we'll do our auth service.sign, and we're going to pass in that payload. In the payload, we might want to include something like identifiable to the user, maybe the user ID. So we'll pass in ID maybe like this. Oops. ID will be user._ID. There, and it's going to send back a 200 OK with that token inside. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get login. Here's our login page, our login route, and we have this function here. Oh, it even says next video in the two. So if that request that we made is okay to our authenticate, we pass in the sign-up form or login form. We want to get out that text. So we const token is equal to await request.text. Just get the text out of there, and we'll just console log the token for now. Oops. So we can see what it looks like. Perfect. Now I believe I have some sort of user in here. Whoop. But let me just see. So here's what we made. Here's the interface we made last time. Oh, I'm not running the server. That'd be helpful. I turned it off. Yarn dev. All right. I don't know what my password is. Let me just try this. Logging in. Oh, that wasn't it. ABC 1 2 3. Was that it? No, that wasn't it either. Oh darn. Right. So I was trying to sign up, but instead I already created the account, so let's log in. Even though there was error. There was an error signing it. We wanted to make sure that we can. Here we go. Boom. My OBS keeps crashing. My recording service keeps crashing. It's super annoying. So I think I clicked login. I don't think any errors happened. So let's take a look in the console. Ignoring all the unauthorized errors. Here we go. At the bottom, we have a token. Now you can see over here why. Whoops, I copied too much. Whoop. There we go. We're going to copy it. And if we go over to, this is a great resource, JWT.io. Tells you all about JWTs and that sort of thing. If we scroll down here to the debugger, we can paste in our token, and we can see it's not super secure because we have this lovely ID in here. One thing we did forget is we have the signatures invalid because it's secret. That's fine. One thing we did forget in here was an expiry time, so we want to make sure that these tokens actually expire at some point, just to make them the most secure. Boop. I still have the title in here as YouTube. That's hilarious. Let's go back to the code for a second. And inside of our signing, we can actually pass some extra data in here, some extra options that are going to allow us to do something like the expire time. And it uses a lovely library, so we can just do something like expires in, and then we could put in like 1 day or 7 days. For now, let's put 1 day. That's a reasonable thing. Do you need to be logged in more than once? So every day it'll expire and you need to log in again. That's fine. Good, so signing works perfectly well. We signed it. Oh, I got rid of the things. We got the token in there. That's fine, which is right here. So now I need to store that token on the front end and be able to send those off to the back end for requests to make sure they're validated, which is great. So we're going to use a library called JS Cookie because it makes things easy. JS-cookie yarn add. I'm pretty sure I'm installing the right one this time. And we're going to create a new route in here. So when I sign up, actually what we'll do here is we'll redirect back to the home page, and then we'll enable the app because you're signed in. Now, in order for guests to get you signed in, that sort of thing, we actually need to have a user object stored in the front end, which means we need to go and get some sort of user object. So we're going to create we'll call it user.js, and it's going to be our first authenticated route. So if I hit up as a GET request to my user, I want to make sure that I get all the information for myself back, less a few important fields, which we'll ignore, maybe like the password field. And then we can use that information on the front end to make more requests or just display specific types of information, like your name, and if you have a profile picture, your profile picture, that sort of thing. So in here, we'll do the same thing. We're going to import the database service. We'll do this a lot, almost every one, because each of these are serverless functions, and so there's no like sharing connections. Every single time you build a new route, you have to include all of the services you might use, like the database service. Import database service from, and I believe we're 2 up, and then services/database. We're also going to need the auth service, so we'll duplicate that and go with auth here. That's use our verify function. We'll also import database service, auth service, the user model from, be able to actually find our user and get some information back from, typing, models, user. Perfect, okay. Export, defaults, async, standard, request, response. Wonderful. Now we're going to do a few things in here. We're just going to make sure we validate against the type of method. So rec.method. Whoops, that's not how we do it. If it's not equal to a GET request, we only accept GET requests here. We're going to status. We'll send a status of 405. Method not accepted. Boom, or not supported, something like that. Not allowed. Method not allowed, I think it is. And who cares? Next thing we'll do is we're going to say get out the header token of authorization, which would mean the header we're going to use. So we can do rec.headers like this, and we'll get an authorization out of that. And then we'll do a try catch here. We're going to do we have to do some magic. We can't store information inside of a try catch, and I don't want to do the whole block inside of a try catch. So I'm just going to do some scoping here. Let's do a let variable let. Whoops, user ID. We don't have anything yet, so let's keep it like that. And we'll get that token ID out of the token. The token ID out of the token. How about just the ID out of the token? Use that auth service.verify. And then we pass in our authorization header. Authorization. Boom. Now, I'm just going to cheat a little bit. And I'm not going to put like bearer token and that kind of thing in there. I'm just going to throw the token in the authorization header just to make sure we have it. And if we have it, we can try and verify it. Now, if it works and it verifies, it'll return us back the payload, and then we can use that payload. All we've been really storing is the ID. Take that ID out, toss in the user ID. So just make sure we continue having this ID present outside of this try catch. If we don't have it, there's some sort of error. Maybe the token is expired or it's invalid, the bad signature, someone's trying to spoof you. Then we can send back my favorite error code because it's just so well thought out. Rest.status 401.end. Well thought out's odd. I like 401. It's so explicit. You're not authorized. Get out. Right, so that'll kill the process right here. That'll kill our request if we don't have a proper token. If we do have a proper token, we want to go ahead and get the user that's associated with that token. Equals await user.find1. We'll find it by the ID, which is user ID. And if we find it, we want to make sure that we're not taking out every single piece of information there is. So let's go ahead and look in models here. We have user, we have name, email, created at, and password ID. What we really need here, do we need the email on the front end? Probably not. Do we need the created at? No. Do we need the password ID? No. We just need the name. So what we'll do here is just say name is -1. This is called a projection inside of MongoDB. So we're just taking whatever fields and projecting it through some sort of function that selects the fields we want to use. So we're just going to take name. There's a bunch of different ways. You can like inclusive, exclusive, -1 is exclude everything else except for these ones. And we can list more than one if we wanted to do like created at, or for some reason send the email, we can just do -1 like that as well. That allows us to include only those ones and exclude everything else. Perfect. So we got the user object. I'm going to assume we have it. If not, it's, something really bad's wrong because we signed this token and the user doesn't exist, but I'm not going to deal with that situation right now. We can't delete user accounts, so if it's there, it's there. We're okay. What we'll do then is just respond res.json with that user, and then we'll do .to object. So we can kind of ignore some of those MongoDB pieces that we don't really need. Okay, wonderful. That's pretty simple. So pretty much we get in here, when we request this with get, we check the authorization headers to make sure that they're valid using our verify function, which we have to write. Let's write that verify function. Click on the button. There we go. So it's empty right now, but we can see it's not going to be async either, is it? As we're just going to return new promises. Beautiful. Here we go. So return a new, did I return the other one? I did, didn't I? Yeah, whew, okay. New promise, it did work. So resolve, reject. That's not how you spell reject. My spelling is so bad. There. And then we'll do JWT.verify. We'll pass in that token. Now the other thing we need here is the actual secret. So process into master secrets.env.secret or just secret. Something very special there. Then what we can do is we can get that callback error and the payload we get out. Boop, boop. And so you can see over here in the sign we get the token, and in the verify we get the payload. Right, so we pass in the payload, we get the token, we pass in the token, we get the payload. Okie dokie. If there's an error, then we want to return. I just do return as opposed to, you could do say if else. Nah. I find it just a little bit nicer for me when I just do this. I don't know why. I like returns as opposed to if else. Not sure why. Otherwise resolve to the payload. Payload. Boom. There we go. And I already exported it. That's just fine. So yeah, this will verify our token and then give us back the payload if we have it. So back to our user. So wonderful. We get that ID out of that payload. We keep that through in scope there. Find that user associated with the ID and send back that information. Now on the front end, we have to figure out, we still haven't stored, I actually installed JS cookie, but we didn't actually store it in tokens. So in our login route, here we go, we get this token, we're just console logging it here. We actually want to store that in local storage, please, as a cookie. And we have to have some settings here, so I'm using JS cookie. Let's pull this up. JS cookie. And we can see that we're going to use some special settings for cookies. Sure, this is fine. Information. Here you go, usage. You can say expiry times. We're not going to concern ourselves with cookie expiry times for now, just because we can expire that token on the back end. Boom, boom, boom. There's getting. Let's look at the better options. Namespaces, encodings, attributes, expires, path. We don't want to really constrict those. Domain we could restrict, but at this moment we're not going to. Where secure is what we want. We want to have secure. So secure only allows us to send with HTTPS requests, not any third HTTP request. So restricting the secure protocol as opposed to letting us send back everywhere. The default is no secure protocol, but we want to include that one. We might as well include same site, just because we will be sending it to our own site only. If it's being sent across to some other site, we don't want to do that either. So we'll put same site as lax as well. Yeah, lax. Not strict. We'll just use lax. I don't remember. I did some reading on that one, but I completely don't remember about lax and strict and what's the difference. Let's put this in here. Is it the default? Values are this. It's not set. I see. Right. So it includes it in any request versus certain requests. I don't remember. All right. Let's go in here. Put that in there. So we'll import JS cookie. Import. Whoa. Import cookie. Should probably put it up here with the other imports. Oh, I didn't spell import right. Import cookie from js-cookie and blah, blah, blah. Here we are. So we have that token there. We'll say cookie.set and we'll pass in, we're going to have some sort of like, I don't know, voxtum space. There we go. There's our lovely token key underscore WSP. Very descriptive. And then we'll store a token, store our token, which is just going to be token. And we'll pass in those options. Secure is going to be true. Tour, that's it. And same site, lax. What is same site? I'm so curious. What the heck is same site? Who cares? We'll just do lax. That seems safe enough. Safer than strict. We probably could use strict because we only really want to send it to our server. No other server ever needs this, but that's fine. We'll leave it there. Okay, yeah, so once this happens, we can then, so we went and we logged in, we came back, we got the token, we stored this token as a cookie now, and then we could redirect to the home page. No router, let's import the router. Import the router from next router. So we saw before we could use next link. This is the same thing. This is the router. It's kind of like a mimic of the HTML5 router, but internally to Next.js. We can take that and go over here and say router. Once we've validated router dot push. Want to push it? We can push it. So we have push and replace. Replace removes that route from the stack, but we'll use push. That's fine. So push is done. We'll go back home. So push back home. So set the token, push back home. So let's go back and log in again. Okay, my email was, I think, junk there. And then ABC123, log in. Just can't stand this. OBS keeps crashing and it's driving me crazy. Okay. My cookie's not being stored. Did I do it wrong, or is it just I can't see it? You missed the big bloody reveal because guess what? OBS crashed. It crashed again. Come on. But you can see, here's the token, here's the return. But if I go over here, oops, that's not what I want. Don't go over there. Cookies, localhost. It's not bloody there. I bet you, I bet you it's the secure thing. Let me just take this off. People are yelling at me over the YouTube, being like, "You're such an idiot. It's because of that token thing. You don't know nothing about authentication." You know why our recording takes so long? Because OBS keeps crashing. Swearing will be happening soon. Okay, so I'm silly, and if I put secure in there, it doesn't show up in the list, and I can't get it out, which is fine, I guess. So we can just like fish it out of the cookies on every request that we send. So let's do that. Oh, you know why? Because this is not HTTPS. So secure won't actually allow me to get it because it's HTTPS. So let's just fix that and put it, whoa. Okay, so secure, but only if process.env.node env not equal production. Oops, sorry, other way around. Is production. If it's production, we use secure. If it's not production, we don't use secure because I'm not serving this on HTTPS locally. Holy crap. Okay. So I could probably cut that out and then make myself look amazing, but instead we'll just keep it in and make the video extra long. So there we go, we got the token. Now, we've stored the token, we push to the home page. What we'll do when we're here is we're going to go and get the user information. Let's just log in one more time, just so you can see that alert pop up properly. Junk, ABC1. I should just include all the takes where I have to restart OBS, because I restarted it again. Let's try again. So, I'm going to log in just so I can show you the token actually works now, because I'm not serving. OBS really doesn't want me to show you this token because it crashed again. Refresh, here we go. Let's try this. Plus junk, maybe. Okay, it's right here. See it? Here's my OBS that I'm using to record. Yeah, I know it quit unexpectedly. Ready for this? I'm gonna go junk. You're gonna see it crash. Plus, I guess you won't see it. Junk. ABC. It crashed. Did you see that? Yes, you didn't see it, but it stopped recording and I had to record again. Log in. Here we go. Boop. There we go. So now we get the token in the homepage. So what we'll do next time, because this video is getting long enough as I'm faffing around with stupid OBS and also some issues with my not knowing how to use secure properly and some of the cookies properties, but that's fine. So next time what we'll do is we'll set it up so when we go to the homepage, if we have a cookie, we'll try and request and get the application version of this app first. We'll do it on the server side using an awesome function that Next.js provides called get server side props. and I'll show you how we can authenticate and authorize ourselves before the page even renders. Wonderful. Thanks for watching. Like and come on. Good, okay. It didn't actually crash. It was just a warning. Like and subscribe. Hopefully I'll fix my OBS for next time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.